What's up, guys? We're going to be talking about the Britney Jean era today, but we're actually going to rewind it all the way back to January 2013 because I feel like this era is important to talk about what had happened before it actually began, to talk about, what had happened, what should have happened, because the way this year began, 2013, first of all, to me was like the rejuvenation and the resuscitation of Britney Spears, the person that we love and enjoy. Like, I feel like when being a fan of Britney since she came out, anyone who's been along for the whole ride, I feel like the most important, aspect of her that was so, like, interesting and so inspiring was just her confidence and, like, her light and her beauty, like the inner beauty that would shine out. Like, you just kind of watched her and she was just so inspiring because she was just so herself, and she just looked like she was just so in love with life, no matter what was going on with her. No matter what the media was saying, she was always kind of running around with a smile on her face, looking fit, looking gorgeous, looking tan, toned, ready to go. And I feel like her whole energy was very inspiring. And so when 2010, 2011, 2012, those few years, I felt like that was completely, like, the light that was in her, like, completely dimmed out and just disappeared and dissipated. Like, it was just completely gone. And it was, like, definitely the weirdest years to be a Britney fan, I feel like, because, yeah, her Femme Fatale was iconic, like, the album was iconic, the era was iconic, kind of, like, success-wise and musically, but just watching her, I was like, girl, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is not the Britney we know and love. So once 2013, right after X Factor, she broke up with Jason, and I feel like the second that happened, literally it was like watching Prime Knee return. I know we love to talk about 2016 was kind of like that time, and it definitely was. That was like a huge, big, epic comeback for her, I feel. But in 2013, we forget that that was really the first time, in my opinion, that she was coming out of the shell and kind of looking like a mature, happy, confident Britney that we haven't seen in years. So, right after that breakup, girl, I think if anyone remembers, I have the picture right here, when she was coming out of that church, and we were like, oh my god, like, she's actually coming out looking, like, amazing, looking, like, confident, happy, gorgeous, stunning, put together. Bitch, we all remember this, right? You all remember this. Look at that outfit. Like, she wouldn't get hair, like, all her candids that were coming out. First of all, we barely had candids those 3 years, and then all of a sudden she broke up with Jason. We were getting candids left and right, and she's giving us great outfits, great hair, great beauty. Like, we literally never even seen her smile like that in years. Like, we never had her natural smile. Every time we saw her out and about in the streets, we were like, girl, you're looking like really depression on a stick. You're walking around depression. You are really giving us zombie. So, seeing her come alive after that breakup was truly, I felt like, the second coming for us. So, and then, March, she's dyeing her hair. She's looking gorgeous and happy. Like, first of all, legs, hair, body, face. It was just really the confidence that she was evoking was stunning, to say the least. So, and then on top of that, we had Scream and Shout, which at the same time in January 2013 was like #1. It was #1 for January, February, March. It was like such a massive, huge hit. So she was looking stunning. She had this huge #1 smash. She did the remix video, which, again, even in those videos, like, she was giving you fear. She was giving you, like, you watched her and it was like, oh my god, this is Britney. This is the Britney that we know and love. So, I feel like the first moment of the Britney Jean era / Vegas Knee era that kind of happened, that was actually being promoted, was this magazine, Miss Shape magazine. Okay, when she came out with this Shape magazine, first of all, again, so inspiring. Like, I felt like, I was reading the article, looking through the pictures, and I was like, bitch, she hasn't even done a photo shoot where she actually looks like she wants to be there or is confident, you know what I mean? Like, even these pictures, like, she said, girl, she said, bitch, I'm that girl. I'm that bitch. I'm looking fit. I'm looking great. I'm looking confident. So, basically, the whole first half of 2013 was just her coming out of her shell and looking really happy and fit. And, like, even in her Mario Lopez interview when she went to Wango Tango, like, she was doing promotional, appearances that she wasn't really doing before. And when she came out, she was looking, she was animated. She was speaking, like, not like she wanted to die. You know what I mean? Like, when she talked, it was like the bubbly Britney that we knew and loved. So, those first 6 months were iconic, the way she was coming out and presenting herself. So, the first thing that went wrong to me was releasing Ooh La La. First of all, what the fuck was Ooh La La? Like, that song is very cute, it's very fun, but, you had a #1 smash hit with Scream and Shout in January and February. So, kind of people were definitely waiting for her next album, and I felt like June was definitely the perfect time to release a new single, but she definitely totally broke off the momentum that she was gaining with all this great publicity and these great looks and like all the confidence that she was serving by releasing Ooh La La, which was such a childish song for Smurfs. Like, it just wasn't, to me, I said this in my last video, to me, when you have this huge hit on your hands, Scream and Shout, and people are waiting now, they're waiting for your next lead single, like the big next moment, Ooh La La kind of stole the thunder from releasing a first single from the album. Why would you release this Radio Disney song when you know that you have a brand new album coming out a few months later? Obviously not, I don't think that was really her fault, I don't think she had much of a say in the matter, but her management team, like, I felt like they thought that would be a good lead up to the next album, but that was actually so ridiculous because now radio was like, oh, we got brand new Britney single, but it's a Smurfs soundtrack song. Like, what is this? Like, now we're not gonna play this, and now when your next lead single comes out 2 months later, we're kind of like, bitch, you just gave us a single 2 months ago and we didn't want it because you were making a song for the kids. You know what I mean? Like, I think that would have been cute if she did it the next summer after the album came out. So it was like, oh, here's a fun little treat. Here's a fun little soundtrack moment. But it kind of stole the light and the thunder from the comeback of the actual album. So that was the first misstep. What you should have done, what should have happened was June definitely released the lead single, and it should have been Now That I Found You. Point blank period. Why? You're presenting this album as your most personal album. This is your most, it's personal, it's Britney, it's going back to the roots, it's this and that, all this shit. And your first single is Work Bitch, which is this big explosive EDM song that really is not personal in any type of way. So, it just, like, you could argue that it is, but honestly it's not. So, Now That I Found You would have been great because I felt like it was a very personal song, like it was very romantic, and, it had this big build up and that big EDM drop that was very big back in the day, and it kind of had that country flair. I said this in my Britney Jean review video, but I'm going to repeat it here because I still think this is what should have happened. You released that song in, like, June, right? June 2013, instead of Ooh La La. And the video should have been very true to her roots, giving you country festival, giving you cowboy boots, like short little, the little short country things, and like a cowboy hat, and doing like a do-si-do on the dance floor. Very colorful, very bright. I always had the image of this video being like, those paintball machines, very much paintballs, except instead of attacking each other violently, they're kind of like shooting it off, and the balls are bursting with colors all over each other. Now they're splattered in paint, doing these big choreography moments, and just like a very big kumbaya moment, like something very big for the summer, and something, I don't know, I felt like to me that song was very anthemic, instead of just being like, Femme Fatale was very, it was very dance anthems for the club, like, ooh, ooh, ooh. But Now That I Found You was more like something you could sing along to. It was very stadium, like I feel like you're in a stadium and you would blast that and everyone in the stadium is kind of like going off, like, it just had that feel. So I feel like Now That I Found You would have been the perfect blend of being like still dancey, very different for her as well because it was kind of country and inspired, and it was very of the moment. Like that song would have been huge on the radio in my opinion, and it was still personal. It wasn't like a song that was just about sex. It was about discovering somebody and discovering yourself and blah blah blah, all that bullshit. So pretty much I feel like that would have been the perfect lead single, and I think it would have been huge because Scream and Shout was just huge just 6 months prior. You don't do Ooh La La, like that just made no sense. Like marketing wise, it just made no sense. So that was so fucking stupid. Okay. So Now That I Found You should have been the first single, let's get that straight. Now, the second single should have been Work Bitch, because then you would have had the second single by around September, which is when the BMAs was. So imagine now you had this big summer smash hit with Now That I Found You. And that was like a month or two before Miley started coming out, and I feel like Miley and Katy and Gaga, like it was kind of like a free-for-all, like a big battle between all the pop stars. So Britney came out in June, just like how she had with Ooh La La, but it was Now That I Found You. It would have been like a good one up on them, you know what I mean? Like it wouldn't be like throwing herself into the middle of the competition, which is what happened when she came out in September, when everyone was already releasing, and you had Miley, who was like, a big ball of energy. She came out and she was kind of number one, so it was like, you kind of, there's too much space. So I think if she had come out first, Now That I Found You would have had its space to become massive on its own. So the second single would have been Work Bitch, would have came out with the VMAs, right? Bitch. Now imagine the VMAs performance being like half Now That I Found You and half Work Bitch. Or just all Work Bitch. It honestly doesn't matter, but the point is, the premiere of it would have been with the VMAs. Dropped the music video, which was perfect. I would have not changed anything about that music video, because to me, again, that was a big comeback moment. I mean, the Femme Fatale videos were iconic and epic, but Work Bitch was the first time you saw the real fire in her eyes. Like, she was so passionate during the video shoot to me. Like, you watch it and it just felt like watching BRITNEY. The choreography was awesome. The video was epic. She looked so hot. She looked so confident. And it's just like a feeling. Like, you just look at her and you just feel like, okay, this is the Britney that I know and I love. So, and I felt like even in her 2013 interviews, like towards later in the year, people were kind of dragging her. Like, some of the interviews were a mess. Definitely some of the videos were a mess. But I feel like in those certain ones, her anxiety were kind of coming up again. But a majority of those interviews, she was way, way, way more personable and confident than she was in the Femme Fatale interviews. And especially during X Factor, which was a whole goddamn mess. Until December, I felt like in the last month of the live shows of X Factor, she was kind of coming out of her shell. Again, because she was breaking up with Jason. Like, that was it. Point blank, period. So, anyway. So, the second single would have been Work Bitch. Would have been massive, I think, because to be honest, at this point, it's like a Britney classic, so you really you needed to release that song, in my opinion. And you could argue that it still continues the personal streak after Now That I Found You, because it gives, like, you know, I mean, she is a hard worker. You know, the song is just about dancing and working hard, which is pretty much what her whole life was. So you had the Work Bitch VMA performance, and then I feel like a week later, do another Work Bitch performance with a totally different aesthetic and theme than whatever the VMA performance would have been, but do it on the desert, you know, because as we remember the Good Morning America disaster. Girl, let's get into that real quick, because if anybody remembers Good Morning America, Jordan of Breathe Heavy, he did, you know, he announced to everybody that she was going to be performing Work Bitch on the desert, and they were going to announce the Vegas shows, and blah, 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 which would have been iconic, and really, that would have been such an amazing way to start the era. But that didn't happen, and instead she just sat in a helicopter, she smiled, she said, and she got off the helicopter, and she walked past all the fans, and she said, and that was it, so everybody was fucking pissed. And I remember I was, I think I was in, like, global history or AP economics, some fucking class, and I was telling everybody, and I was like, girl, you know, Work Bitch, Britney's coming out with this brand new song, and she's on Good Morning America right now, and right now, as we're doing our notes in class, like, she is coming down a helicopter, and my mom was texting me, like, oh my gosh, she's coming off the helicopter, but I have to go drop off your little brother, like, I'm not gonna see her performance, and I was like, shit, you know, I was really expecting this performance, and I was promoting it to everybody, and then the next day, everyone was like, oh my god, where's the performance? I didn't see it on YouTube, you were really hyping it up. I said, oh, you know, I don't know, you know, I kind of pretended like there was a performance, but we didn't. For some reason, it's not on YouTube. I just didn't want to admit the fact that I was really, like, you know, going gung-ho over this thing, and it didn't even fucking happen, and it really would have been perfect. So she definitely should have done a performance on there to announce the Vegas residency. So imagine that. You got this Now That I Found You, smash through the summer, with a perfect music video with her fit, gorgeous self, looking amazing, in shape. And then, you know, Work Bitch kind of, I think, would have been like a big... It would have been like a big social phenomenon at the time, because honestly, even now, it's like a cult like it's a classic. Everyone knows that song. So imagine if she was performing it, you know, on Good Morning America. It comes off with the Vegas residency, and you did it on the VMAs. It would have been like such a big moment. And with that music video, which was super fucking hot and iconic, boom, would have been amazing. So then at this point, I would have third single. I would have done the album release at this point in, like, I think I would have released the album right after all this, like end of September, early October, because at this point the era would have began in June. So I think that it would have been great right after the Vegas residency announcement, drop the album. So then now in October we have the album, you know, Work Bitch is still working its way through the fall, and then the third single I would have released in tandem with the Vegas opening. So December, you know, the Vegas show opens, she's doing all that promotion, and she could have done the third single. And I feel like, so to me the third single could have gone either Alien or Perfume. So Alien, the only way I would have accepted Alien as the third single is if we edited the song, we made it like 5 minutes long, we made it like orchestral, you know, very ethereal, not just this, I mean, it's a good song, but it's kind of just a lazy pop song. You know, this is produced by William Orbit. This could have been like her Madonna Frozen moment. You know, it has, first of all, the theme of it is Alien. Like, why is the song not more solar space feeling? Why is there not like a dramatic, orchestral, theatrical moment to it? It should have been a really long, epic, 5-minute, you know, big climax moment, instead of just being this kind of run-of-the-mill pop song that it ended up being. It could have been really like a life-changing epic career moment, but instead we got what we got. But if it was this big 5-minute Frozen type of thing, I feel like make a music video that's very theatrical, very dramatic, you know, very storyline, you know, her being like an alien, not like Pretty Girls, but you know, something very just dramatic and, you know, just something that was trend setting, because we're so used to Britney bringing the visuals to the table. So I feel like Alien would have been a great way to do that. Now, if it was just the regular Alien that we had on the album, then cut that shit out. We're gonna put Perfume as the third single and keep it with the music video that was originally supposed to come out, which was her kind of getting beat and you know, in an abused relationship, I believe, is what was supposed to happen. And then I guess she was supposed to kill her boyfriend at the end because he was cheating on her. And because he was beating her ass. So I feel like, you know, that original theme, just imagine that comes out as a third single right when the Vegas show's coming out, the controversy that we know Britney for. Now we have this controversial song written by Sia, who was really kind of blowing up at the time. So you promote the song as a Sia original, you know, co-written with Britney. You have this really controversial epic video. It's obviously a very personal, dramatic song, taking a shift from her usual dance songs. And, you know, fucking sing it on the Grammys or some shit, and this would have been like I really believe that would have been a massive hit if she had done it that way. And then the fourth single, right after all that, I would have had in the spring, like April, March, would have been Passenger, because to me that is, again, like Now That I Found You is very anthemic, it's very big, and it's very different for her. It's very bright and sunny. I know in my Glory 2020 video I said that I think in her comeback she should do something like, what the fuck I say, Unwritten or I'm Like a Bird. To me, like, Passenger is kind of like that. It's very feel good. It's very just like sing along and put the windows down. Like, I feel like Passenger would have been that, and you know, the music video could have been something more happy, more light after those, you know, Work Bitch epic, Perfume dramatic and scary and controversial. Passenger could have been more like her just in the car, you know, windows down, hair flying out, you know, just having a good time. It's springtime, just gorgeous, like, aesthetics, like flowers, ocean, fields, stuff like that, you know, just kind of running around having a good time and just being like, you know, happy and inspiring. And that song is really, to me, one of the standouts of the album. Would have made a great single to me. So those four, to me, Now That I Found You, Work Bitch, Perfume, and then Now That Passenger, I feel like would have been a perfect set list, and it would have been a fucking epic, you know, era. It really would have. I feel like that would have, instead of what we got, which was so lazy, like, you're just going to throw Work Bitch out there, you're not even going to promote it at all, you're only going to talk about the Vegas residency, and then you're going to kind of throw Perfume out to the wind, not promote it. You had this shitty-ass, boring-ass music video for it, and then you just went on Vegas, and then that was it? That was the end of the era? Like, what the fuck is going on? You know? With the songs that you have on the album, you easily could have made a really big era. And honestly, if those 4 songs smashed, I would have just thrown for the 5th single, It Should Be Easy with Will I Am, because that would have been an easy smash hit, because it's such a simple song. It was very radio ready. Everyone was kind of loving the whole Britney Will I Am situation, so you throw it as the 5th single for summer. I feel like that would have been an easy, quick hit. 5 smash singles, big ass era. She's doing the Vegas. She furthers her career legacy and her, you know, her reputation as a legend with 4 big, or even 5 big smash hits that were kind of shifting the way people viewed her. Because it wasn't just gonna be you just club and you sing about sex, you know what I mean? Instead, it would have been some personal songs, some controversial songs, hitting on serious topics like, you know, spousal abuse or domestic abuse and violence and murder, you know what I mean? Or then, you know, Work Bitch is having fun, Passenger, cute, fun, happy song. Or, you know, Now That I Found You, which again, going something more relationship oriented, and back to her roots because it's very country. You know, just kind of spice it up, girl. You gotta spice it up. And I feel like even with Britney Jean, the album, you know, we all trash it, but there you go. You have a few songs. You could have easily made a great era out of it instead of doing what you did, which was nothing, as always. So that was what I would have done. Point blank period. And that's kind of the end of my situation. You guys let me know what you guys would have done for the era, what kind of singles you would have done. Also tell me if you guys agree that during this year she was definitely, you know, to me it was just, I loved that era. I loved that whole year. Even if the album wasn't that good, or even if the songs kind of flopped, you know, I felt like it was just fun to watch. Like, even Ooh La La, I like the song, it's cute, I just hate that it came out when it did. But even watching that music video, she was just so stunning, and like, she just looked so happy. And I felt like watching her that whole year was like, the first time in years where it was like actually enjoyable to watch her, because she actually looked like she was happy to be here and to be alive and to be doing her career, you know what I mean? So let me know if you guys agree with that, because I feel like a lot of people act like 2015 was the first time that that happened, and that's not totally true. It's not. Even her performance kind of, like, even in 2014, there wasn't a lot of energy, but she was still kind of, you know, she was hitting the moves way more than she was in the Femme Fatale era. So I would agree that 2015, 2016, the performances, totally, and the sexual energy and all of that totally shot up. But I feel like 2013 was a good step up, or a huge step up from the past. So y'all let me know what you guys think. What you guys would have made as singles. What do you guys think of my, you know, setup for it? And, you know, comment below, shoot off, and thanks for watching.